District Attorney Forum, live, exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580, Saturday morning, January 13th, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Helping to raise your civic IQ. We're KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
I have a dream.
On Friday, January 12th, as we head into Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. annual holiday weekend, KBLA Talk 1580 will announce a historic climate justice campaign aimed at California communities of color. KBLA Talk 1580 is joined in this historic effort by both public and private partners including LADWP, Metro, Caltrans, Cal and Dow, the Sierra Club, and many other partners. There's a clear connection between Dr. King's moral conscience on the notion of reverence for all human life and the future of our world house. This year, on the MLK holiday weekend, KBLA assigns itself the task of elevating the climate conversation by amplifying the voices of those who are most impacted by the climate catastrophes we are witnessing in real time. Stay tuned for more details. At KBLA Talk 1580, Climate is King.
With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood.
He's $1 million.
All right. Feel like it. Yup. Yeah. Let's go. Yo, get it while you young. Broad day, dipping in the sun. Came a long way, look at where we from. It's only just begun. The path saying we already won. There's still time, go get it while you young. Shit, get it while you young. Broad day, dipping in the sun. Came a long way, look at where we from. We only just begun. Yeah, we already won. Yo. Know these streets so well, I slide through them with my eyes closed. Even in my worst dreams, I can find home. Ain't crazy, that's just how it goes. Switch it up, can't be lazy. Moms pick up a baby, playing slide stone. Them everyday people digging, trying to mine gold. But gold diggers pay admission, now the line's closed. The bad pay attention when the smile's low. This next mission might switch it, good time zone up. So what? No risk, no prize, no luck. Roll the dice, I'm a product of where I've grown up. You gotta keep it low key for they size y'all up. Cause the last thing we needed it was eyes on us. It's full circle enterprise and my guys I trust. Better try playing B for y'all try y'all luck. Triple degree heat. Them summers hit different. Cause dude can't speak. On them walls saying get it while you young. Broad day dipping in the sun. Came a long way, look at where we from. It's only just begun. The path saying we already won. There's still time, go get it while you young. Get it while you young. Broad day.
KBLA Talk 1580. That's Miles Lowe right there. I know him. You might know him too. Miles Lowe Music is where you can find him on all platforms and download that music, buy that music, stream it. While we're young. That's the new one, right? Get it while you're young. Love it. Okay, so who's on my phone right now? You are 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580 as we unpack what we've heard, what we've seen, and what is going on around the town. Helping me do that, Tim Kornegay is the director of Live Free California, a lifelong resident of South Central Los Angeles. Since gaining his freedom after 22 years of incarceration, he joined LA Voice as an AmeriCorps Vista Fellow. He ultimately earned a staff position around reentry and Prop 47 as an organizer, promoted to position of Justice Transformation and Voter Engagement Organizer, and then eventually working his way up to Director of Live Free California. Good morning, Tim.
Good morning, Dominique. Thank you for that intro and Happy New Year.
Same to you. You, we talk about a lot of things. You and I, Tim comes in a lot for our first hour to look at local issues. But when it comes to reparations, we really haven't had much of a conversation about that. And there are so many aspects to it. What jumped out at you from what you heard? I mean, I guess, this idea of who should get reparations is possibly the most controversial piece, even within not just like should white South Africans or white people or, Latinos get reparations. But within the black community in the United States, who should get reparations?
I think the information that Kevin shared this morning it's enormous, it's informative, but it's a lot to unpack for the average person. So those of us that move around in this space have a degree of understanding. The closer you are to the issue, the higher your understanding. And Kevin is an amazing brother. Hang around him, talk to him all the time, and when he speaks on reparations, he's a person that has a depth of hands-on information. In regards to who should get reparations, that's such an enormous question. There's no way we can unpack that in the time that's provided, but what we can do is discuss the harm that has been done from those generationally from the existence of slavery. And I think that's the point to start at, so we can really understand like what slavery was and what slavery did. And it's a task of like bringing out the clouds, to bring it off television and actually have an understanding of what it was like to be in like servitude for hundreds of years, and that to become a normal way of living while other folks profited off the fact that they owned you as property and literally to the detriment of our folks worked us to death. So
do you think that we don't understand that? I mean, you think that most black Americans don't understand that? The harm of enslavement? Do you think we just watched, we watched, 7 years a slave and that's it, if we even did that?
Well, I actually read a lot, thought I had an understanding of the pain that's processed through us in slavery. And then I went to the Justice and Equity Initiative Museum in Alabama and like, what was really done it's unbelievable. It's unfathomable, and it was ungodly to see visual representations of the transportation of folks and how they move folks from the continent to the Americas as trade to profit off of our misery, to profit off of our work when we receive nothing for it. It's just a different experience when you see it broken down on a certain level, and you see the number of ships that move from Africa to the Americas and how those ships would pack with folks. It's an empirical experience that's life-changing.
Yeah.
So do we understand? Yes, but there's another, like all the other things, and there's levels to this. I
mean, one of the things that I have appreciated from the California Task Force is how many of the stories that connect the dots here, because we do think about, I believe we think about in our enslavement, you often think about the South, right? You think about, Mississippi, Alabama, and really knowing the impacts here in California, not just from Jim Crow and the subsequent harms, but the many people who fled here to California, the people who came here to California and kept their enslaved persons in this state, and the actual direct impact on the Golden State, which is where California started. To me, that's been one of the pieces that I didn't have in my understanding of the harms of enslavement.
Mm-hmm. I think that trying to get away from it, those of us who managed to escape and get to the North by whatever means was amazing, but yet and still, because it existed everywhere else, the treatment that was metered out, the way that folks were treated because the history of and the understanding of where they came from and how they got here, that in and of itself, the state of California is responsible, and the state of California should own that responsibility and deliver reparations on, as Kevin was speaking to this morning, on the multiple levels of addressing the harm from the biggest question that we always talk about, the financial remuneration to receiving whatever degree of counseling, therapy, emotional support that individuals need to actually process the fact that our history brought us to the point that we are in now.
800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. If you want to weigh in on what you heard on Freedman Friday today, if you want to build on something else you've heard throughout the week, if you've got some breaking news to share, or you got to, level up, break down, fellowship, fight, I'm here for all that. 800-920-1580. I'm Dominique DiPrima. Tim Kornegay's with me, and you are invited in on KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to here with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
Mom's early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take.
And when I left the oven on, we decided together that it was time to see a doctor and make a plan.
Early detection gave us more time to seek out information and support as a family.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Granddad, what's good?
Hey there, got us a quarter pounder with cheese and McNuggets.
Wow, haven't had our special McDonald's order in a minute.
Heard your little tic-tac-toe dance didn't get no likes.
Oh man, is Mom telling everybody?
You know she is.
There's a deal for every favorite grandson at McDonald's. Right now, get one favorite like a quarter pounder with cheese or 10-piece chicken McNuggets and get another for just $1. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer. Valid for item of equal or lesser value.
Don't miss out on limited-time appliance deals during the closeout event at Lowe's. Get up to 35% off select major appliances. Plus, save an extra $100 when you spend $999 or more on all major appliances. Hurry, these deals are too good to last long. Shop in-store or online today. Because Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid 1/4 through 1/24. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowes.com for details.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Thank you indeed. Tim Kornegay hanging out with us for the first half of this final hour, and you're invited in. I like to give us time and space to unpack the Freedman Fridays conversations because there is always confusion. There is always a lot of information presented at once and a lot of clarity. But also, if you got something else you want to share, you're welcome. 800-920-1580. Link just DM'd me and he said I need to listen to the whole Cat Williams interview because he claims he never did a hard drug in his life and says they always make us out to be crazy like Dave Chappelle when they don't agree with the things we're doing. So great point, Link. Thank you for pointing that out to me because I didn't watch the whole 2 hours. And my understanding has been that Mr. Williams has had his struggles with the drugs. He's saying he doesn't. So we're going to leave that there. But, Tim, I wanted to ask you, as someone who's spent a lot of time inside California's carceral system, right? You spent over 2 decades behind bars. When we talk about reparations in terms of the prison industrial complex and the example we discussed today, which is the fact that the California state legislature could not agree to outlaw forced labor in their prisons. That was last year. It wasn't 1870. That was last year. The California legislature could not agree to enforce labor in prisons. And I guess we're hoping someone's going to bring that legislation back again this year. That was brought by Cindy Kamlager. She's now in Karen Bass's old seat, so she won't be bringing it. She's not in California anymore. I'm asking you that because in some ways it feels like we're making progress, but in other ways not so much. And I would like to get your perspective of how that reparations piece overlaps with the ongoing forced labor inside of the prison system and other harms that come out of the prison industrial complex that are directly tied to what we need repair for in the first place, our enslavement and our subsequent discrimination and terrorization, is that a word, in this country.
Well, terrorization, if it's not a word, you can make it one, because we're real good at making up words nowadays.
I know, so that's right.
Everybody will definitely know what you mean. But that piece of Constitution in the California Constitution, that it's a negative legacy from slavery to continue to indicate that slavery is illegal unless an individual is convicted of a felony and sent to prison, that still exists in the Constitution. It's a contradiction to say that we should receive our freedom and be first-class citizens and not be considered second-class citizens, but a dark cloud is still hanging over our head, that our legislators, the ones who are progressive, and any of those who are conservative, that have a sense of what's right, should have supported that 100%, because if it's not eliminated from the Constitution, then that means that there are some of us that still believe slavery should be a part of the California environment or the California reality, and that really doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Right, in the U.S. reality, I mean, it's like we need an amendment to the amendment. If the 13th says that you can't enslave people except inside the carceral system, that seems to me an incentive, and that's, what we're seeing with this lawsuit in Alabama, where they're saying that prisoners are being kept in to provide free labor or low-cost labor to fast food chains and others, and that constitutes an extension of enslavement. We need to fix that in the 13th Amendment. But right now, there's a movement going state by state. Like I mentioned, Louisiana just passed a law outlawing forced labor in the jails. Yeah. But we couldn't do it in California. That's crazy to me.
And in terms of slavery, Louisiana was one of the most egregious states that was responsible for keeping our folks enslaved. And for them to be able to do it and for California not to be able to do it makes absolutely no sense. But what it takes at this point is it takes people power. These conversations have to become, and I'll use the Cat Williams example, not about what he was talking about, but just the energy that his interview has created has everybody on the planet talking about Cat Williams. Who do we need to be so we can take these important conversations that change the complexion of the lives we live to be as energetic, to have our phones ringing all day asking questions. What about, do you know? How do you get involved? Do you believe this? That the truth is that if we can do that, then the people power is what move these things across the finish line. All the organizational work is what it is, but it's the community engagement, it's the demystifying, it's taking the academic level of explanation out of this and being able to explain this to anybody you walk up on the street and they understand what you're talking about. They understand how important it is, and they understand the value of their voice and pushing it across the finish line. Because we go to Sacramento, we talk to Gavin Newsom, and it's 100 of us, it's 200 of us, it may be 500 of us. But if 1 million people in California tell Gavin Newsom this is what he wants, then the alternative is either he delivers what we want and what we need based on those task force recommendations, or those 1 million people might change their mind come March 3rd or come November 3rd of this year.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a good point. Of course, I wonder about the algorithm. The algorithm loves the Cat Williams. It's us tearing each other down. It's salacious. It's gossip. It's a lot of things. It's not just that, but I don't know that the algorithm supports reparations now. No. And you know, I don't think, I'm not saying that as an excuse, because the hood grapevine is alive and well. But
exactly.
But I do think it's a consideration.
Yeah. That's what we need to plug into, because that's what we are. We need to meet people where they are, especially those people who we are trying to deliver these resources to that need it the most. They need to know why this is important.
Yeah. Well, why is it important? I mean, why is it important to you? I love Ben Frank is here in the YouTube chat calling what's happening inside prison human trafficking, and it's an interesting take, because that's really, in a sense, what's happening, and it does feel like an extension of the system, just like a lot of folks, Black Lives Matter and others, make the point that our current policing methodology is an extension of the enslavement system, the overseers, the slave catchers. But what? So you said we've got to get the word out beyond the algorithm on the hood grapevine that this is important. But So why is it important? Because I think KBLA is part of the hood grapevine.
But first and foremost, it's important in the bigger picture that America in its present form does not exist without the import of stolen black folks from the continent to build this country, to give individuals free labor for 300 plus years. That's the main reason why it's important. And since that time, there has been no effort or consideration to actually reward folks who are really the existence or the evidence of one of the most heinous crimes ever committed in the history of the planet.
Yeah.
Evidence of a kidnapping.
Well, yeah, mass kidnapping, right? I mean, mass kidnapping, trafficking, sexual assault, rape, false imprisonment, child endangerment. I mean, the list goes on.
Every unbelievable crime known to man exists under the banner of slavery.
And the forensic accountant here in the chat saying that what the Republican governors are doing by shipping undocumented folks out of their states to blue states is also human trafficking. I myself have wondered. It seems like it should be illegal. It should be human trafficking or kidnapping or taking people across state lines. I don't know. Honest services, whatever that is, mail fraud. I don't know, something. It doesn't seem like you should be able to just ship human beings around as political pawns. At the same time, you're exploiting their labor in your slaughterhouses and all that. I do agree with that. At the same time, that becomes a divisive issue, and we see people in the black empowerment space, particularly in the reparations space, being pitted against those immigrants.
Yeah, well, it definitely should be something that's illegal. But then you have unchecked political power. When we surrender our power to our political representation, then they assume what's best for us. And if we don't step up as groups of folks, as voters, as a community, and be like, hey, this right here is unacceptable, then they'll continue to do things like this. And we'll continue to say this is what it should be, instead of actually taking a stand and saying that we're no longer willing to accept this from our representation.
Yeah. I know that since you have been free, and you're the director of Live Free California, you've gotten really physically free. Okay, yeah, because you were
mentally, spiritually, and psychologically free long before they opened the door and let me walk back to this amazing opportunity.
I love that. My question was, you've gotten deeply involved in electoral politics. A lot of people are fed up, disgusted, or feeling like it's not worth it. What do you say to those folks? We've got an election here in California in March, and I know they're going on across the country, especially black men.
What I'll say to that, whether you like politics or not, politics impacts our lives on every level, from the personal to the professional. So when you pull yourself out of politics and you surrender the things that you do in your life to politicians who may not even be aware of the things that you need. If you need any kind of resources, there's a political decision that needs to be made. If you have a job, the wage that you receive may be based on a political decision. Where you live and how you pay your mortgage may be based on a political decision. If you go to the store and buy a bobby pin, the taxes you pay on that, the cost of it may be based on a political decision. We cannot move away from politics, so we can't surrender what seems to be like the invisible portion of our lives, which is really visible to decision makers who aren't informed of our real needs, when are left to guess or think because they're in these positions of power, they know what's good for us.
Tim Kornegay, as usual, great to talk with you.
Oh, thank you, Dominique. It's always a pleasure to come hang out. Like anytime I get the opportunity to pull up and have these conversations, come and wish that one day we can be able to have these conversations, the off-camera conversations, be presented to the folks who are listeners, because then it would really be exciting and they would really know what's going on.
Sounds like a podcast to me. livefreeca.org is where you can find him, Tim Kornegay. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dominique. Have an amazing day.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. A former Capitol Police officer who testified before a House committee investigating the Capitol attack is now running for Congress. Harry Dunn testified last year about seeing Capitol Police officers being attacked on January 6th and how he and other black officers had received racial slurs from the rioters. Dunn is now running for Maryland's 3rd District. Weight bias in the workplace is well documented, with studies showing that people with obesity are paid and promoted less on average than trimmer colleagues. According to a study by Bloomberg, overweight people are hired less, promoted less, and paid less. One study suggests for every 6 pounds an average American woman gains, her hourly pay drops 2%. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Joe Buck and John Smoltz welcoming you back to the City Center Convenience Mart. Uh-oh. She's looking at the cigarettes, but she just grabs the gum off the counter. Stand Up to Cancer and Rally want you to reduce your risk for cancer. Go to takeahealthystand.com.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers and Clippers are back in action tonight. The Lakers are at home against Memphis. Some serious work is on the table for the Lakers. They need to get right in a hurry. The Lakers have lost 3 straight and are 1 game below 500. The Clippers are one of the hottest teams in the NBA. They take a 4-game winning streak into tonight's game in New Orleans. A 13-2 stretch since December 1st has given the Clippers the 4th best record in the Western Conference. Former Lakers star Shaquille O'Neal is still generating milestones. Shaq will be the first Orlando Magic player to have his jersey retired. Shaq's number 32 jersey will be retired on February 13th when the Magic play Oklahoma City. The Magic chose Shaq with the number 1 pick in the 1992 draft. The Magic are the 3rd NBA team to retire his jersey. They join the Lakers and the Miami Heat. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Happy holidays from the Los Angeles County Department of Consumer and Business Affairs. DCBA is spreading the warmth this season with the Los Angeles County Rent Relief Program. Visit www.lacountyrentrelief.com. This program is available to landlords with unpaid rent expenses in Los Angeles County, excluding the city of LA. If you are a landlord with unpaid rent, you could be eligible for a grant of up to $30,000 per unit. Tenants with unpaid rent are also welcome to refer their landlords to apply for this program. To learn more about the program or to apply, visit www.lacountyrentrelief.com. This program is administered by the County of Los Angeles through its Department of Consumer and Business Affairs. Visit www.lacountyrentrelief.com. www.lacountyrentrelief.com.
Did you know there's a way to outsmart COVID if you get it? Now there are medicines that can treat COVID, whether or not you've been vaccinated, which is great news, especially if you're over 50. If taken in the first 5 days of having symptoms, COVID medicines can help stop the illness from getting serious. Call a healthcare provider or the statewide COVID hotline at 833-422-4255 to learn more about COVID medicines. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
Some people won't give you the real talk on drugs. But it's time we know the facts. Fentanyl is killing people. It's a powerful opioid, often made illegally and commonly mixed with illicit drugs. It can even be pressed into counterfeit pills that resemble prescription medications. Just 2 milligrams, about the size of a few grains of sand, can potentially be lethal. This isn't an ad to scare you, but it is an ad to make you think twice. Get the facts. Go to realdealonfentanyl.com. This message is brought to you by the Ad Council.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about. KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment. LA's 99 neighborhood councils form the grassroots level of the Los Angeles city government. The system was created to connect LA's diverse communities to City Hall. While neighborhood council board members are volunteers, they are also public officials elected to office by the members of their community. Neighborhood councils advocate on issues like homelessness, housing, land use, emergency preparedness, public safety, parks, transportation, and sustainability. They also provide local expertise on the delivery of city services to their various communities. Neighborhood councils are open to participation by anyone who is a part of the fabric of daily life in said community. This includes those who live, work, or own property or a business. If you are interested in stepping up to join your local neighborhood council, visit www.empowerla.org. That's empowerla.org. It's time to think globally, but act locally. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Heard any other talk radio lately that sounds anything like this?
We didn't think so.
You're listening to Unapologetically Progressive KBLA Talk 1580.
So one of my projects for 2024 is going through this entire 1,200-page report, starting with the executive summary, going through the report, and really parsing the work of the California Reparations Task Force. One place where I do see movement is more agreement among various reparationists that the work of California can be a template for federal legislation or even an executive order. That whereas some people felt and some do still feel that having reparations on a state or a local level would undermine the real bulk of the repair work that needs to happen at the federal level. Some seem to be changing their minds about that, or at least allowing for the fact that this California task force work has moved the ball. In 1863, the report says, the summary says, President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. Hopefully you know that. In 1865, they ratified the 13th Amendment. And I'm skipping down to a little further in the paragraph where they're talking about Reconstruction. And they say that the United States experienced a 12-year period after the Civil War called Reconstruction, where the federal government tried with some success to give newly freed African Americans access to basic civil rights. These advancements, skipping forward, these advancements came to an abrupt end after the presidential election of 1876, when federal political leaders reached a compromise which resulted in the withdrawal of federal troops from key locations in the South, effectively ending reparations. And even though in 1883 the Supreme Court interpreted the 13th Amendment as empowering Congress to, quote, pass all laws necessary and proper for abolishing all badges and incidents of slavery in the United States, the report says, other than during Reconstruction, instead of abiding by the Supreme Court's and the Constitution's mandates to abolish the badges and incidents of slavery, the United States, federal, state, and local governments, including California, perpetuated and created new iterations of these badges and incidents. The resulting harms have been innumerable and have snowballed over generations. I read that, so well put, and it is the jumping off point for this conversation. In California, particularly because in 2020, Assembly Bill 3121, which was then Assemblymember Shirley Weber's bill, allowed us to address this on a state level through the formation of this task force and their mission to document these harms and then make recommendations about how to fix it. That's where we are right now. And that is why this is a crucial moment. The work has been done. It's groundbreaking. We are at the point where we, the people, have to push this beyond a study, beyond a recommendation, off of the page and into action. Let's go to Mollie Bell, calling us from the city of Compton.
Reparations in memory of our ancestors. God bless and Happy New Year, Dominique. You held that down. I was wondering how when you found out that when I heard that he was going to be on, how would you talk to him? Not that I'm against him or anything, but remember what Dick Gregory used to say? When somebody says something, he said what he said, and then you say what you say. And so that's what I'm saying. For me, for reparation, I am, who should get reparation? You know that, Dominique, Dobus, descendants of black African slaves. So right off the top, I would have been off. So for those who have been texting me and asking me to say something, that was why I had no need to, because when you bring a guest on, we try to treat your guest as if we invited them to our home also. Because isn't KBLA our home?
Yes, it is.
So we invited them to our home. How do you treat people that you invite to your home, even if you disagree with them on some things? But how do you treat them? And you were just simply wonderful. I wanted to call in, and I know that some of you probably have already seen that Officer Dunn, who was, even though today is the 5th, this is the day we're commemorating, or I don't know, is commemoration when you talk about the day they did the Capitol? Is that the correct word?
Yeah, commemoration. Yeah, I think that's right.
Okay. Well, we're commemorating that. He's going to run for Congress in Maryland.
Yeah.
I seen that early this morning on MSNBC. And
he's the big bald-headed brother that was testifying a lot, and you saw him a lot on television, on CNN and such. Yeah. For those who don't know who she's talking about, who was attacked during the January 6th
and he fought.
Coup attempt. Yes.
He fought them like something. I just want to say just a couple of things on the election. I'm a Biden supporter. But I'm a Biden supporter. I don't say I'm voting for the lesser of two evils, because for me, I can never, ever vote for evil, lesser or greater than. I've got to look for the good, celebrate that, and do it. And Trump is an awful person. Donald Trump is an awful person, he who shall not be named. I don't know how many nicknames you've given him. You probably don't even like
I don't remember either.
If he won and became dictator, you would be on his list right away.
Dictator Don.
Yeah, and that's another thing. I'm so glad that we as Democrats aren't that crazy, because we're not. Because what if Biden says, okay, yes, I believe he can do that when he get in, but I'm president, so today I declare myself a dictator.
Yeah.
What if Biden did that today? What if he said, I'm going to get even with everybody. I'm going to change the Supreme Court. I'm going to do this, but we're not like that. Everybody say, well, Trump is just doing this. Trump spent all of 2015 trying to get President Barack Obama's birth certificate. Have everybody forgotten that? Because it says if you weren't 35 years old or not born in the United States of America, you can't run for president. And so he was trying to find a loophole. And the birthers and President Obama had to get his live birth from Hawaii to prove to his people that it was. What are we going to do? One thing I heard Dr. Kornegay say the other day on the radio, Dominique, he says that when it comes to voting, because he's not crazy about what's happening, in the East, with the wars that's going on, he said we as a people must vote for who we believe will put us in the best condition after the election. Vote for all the people that we believe will put us in the best condition, because what happened to what's her name, Cindy Gray? What's her name, Dominique? She just resigned from Harvard.
Oh, Claudine Gay.
Claudine Gay. For me, and I don't know how you feel about this, how could something that happened, how many miles away is Israel and Palestine, and she lost her job for something that happened all these many miles away, and people are lynching us and killing George Floyd and stepping on their head, this is just not fair. This is just not fair. I didn't want her to resign. I hope that she stayed. You did a nice thing. You talked about it the other day, about her resigning. And I'm just saying that right there today, I'm fired up.
Yes,
and I'm just saying that reparation is something that I'm serious about. And one of the last things that you read today, and maybe you could go back and read it. I had never read that, but I had heard of it. You said that under one of the amendments in the Constitution, they couldn't have any remnants or anything that was of before slavery. But yet and still in California, and you know this, their sheriff's badge in Los Angeles is made just like the slave catcher's badge. And that's what they're doing. Isn't that a remnant of what happened during slavery? And we're not supposed to have that. I'm saying I think we need to stand up for democracy. Because if not, we're going to be in big, big trouble. If Donald Trump gets in, and I rebuke that, for those who have a relationship with God, understand these words. I rebuke that in the name of Jesus, that he doesn't get in. But I'm going to make sure that, thank you, I'm going to make sure that everything that I can do, vote for all the people that will put us in a better condition after the election.
Okay, so but Mollie Bell, a lot of people don't believe that Biden puts us in a better condition. Like, and we can point to specific things he's done, especially in domestic policy. But for those who are angry about what's happening in Gaza, for those who did not appreciate the way that Haitians are treated under the immigration system in this country, for those who are not happy about the U.S. policy towards Cuba, they may not feel that puts us in a better position. So what do you say to those folks, especially young people who are feeling disillusioned by the Biden administration, and for whom just saying, well, he ain't Trump, Trump's a dictator, Trump's horrible. What do you say to those people if that's not enough for them, the fact that he ain't Trump?
Well, first of all, we said we're going to vote for the person who will put us in the best condition after the election. I didn't say he wasn't Trump or he's not Trump, but if we vote for Trump and he wins, would he, young people, put us in a better condition than we're in now? Crazy no.
Some folks are now arguing that because Trump, they believe, will prioritize black people over immigrants. I don't know what this is based on, but that's, I think, probably because he who shall not be named, China Don, Dictator Don, he bashes immigrants. He bashes us too, but on different days, that they feel that he will do more for black people than Biden, because the Democrats have been more humane towards immigrants.
Well, my first response, thank you for asking me that, but you always ask everybody good questions. But don't be too hard on Mollie Bell, because I'm your partner.
That's right,
anyway.
You are.
But I'm saying that, first of all, I would just tell them, did all these people come over the wall? Oh, they didn't build that wall. Did they come over the wall? No, they didn't build it. So just because he says it don't make it so. So if he had built the wall, maybe more. And like I said, and I'm loving the different mayors who are finding different ways. They're being creative. I'm just surprised that Biden, who I think is white, who I know is white, who I know that hasn't lived his life as with black people and everything else, but I never want to vote for the lesser. But Biden has done a lot of things that have been great. And if we're just going to just deal with Palestine, and we found out recently that Israel, because I always talked about the hidden hand, that Israel knew a year before October the 7th that Hamas was going to do it. They knew this a year before that. There's always a hidden hand. Who wants to win? Netanyahu. He's just like Trump. He's up. Everybody knows he's on trial
for corruption,
and he's doing everything that he can in Israel. He's doing everything. Trump is on trial. Zelensky is only one of the fair people in there, and we've got to stand up for democracy. Nobody said that the road would be easy. I know that I may not live to see all this at 76 and 4th of February, Rosa Parks' birthday. I'll be 77. But I'm just saying that when we name all the things that he hasn't done, the economy is better. We're living better. Gas prices have gone down. I don't even have a list of them, and I know that, and I don't know how to even go out anymore because of, my accident. But I'm just saying that who is running that will put us as black people in a better position? And then if they say Trump, then now I get to talk to you. It's your job.
All right, Mollie Bell. I know you. I know you're about to do your finale, so I'm gonna let you land right here.
Right. I love you, Dominique. Happy New Year to all of us. We make it, and we're gonna do it. All you prayer warriors out there, and there's a bunch of you. You know what you've got to do. You've got to keep fasting. You've got to keep praying, because the struggle continues. But always, to God be the glory. Thank you, Dominique. Be blessed.
Thank you, Mollie Bell, City of Compton. Be blessed. Be back with more. We got a lot to talk about, as always. KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
There's only a few days left for open enrollment, starting at $0 a month. LA Care Covered offers the benefits you need to achieve your health goals. $0 preventive services, 24/7 virtual care and nurse advice lines, walk-in minute clinics, free fitness and nutrition classes, and more. Become a member of LA's most affordable health plan. Get a free instant quote at lacarecovered.org. Have open enrollment questions? Connect with us today at 855-222-4239. Find your affordable path to wellness with LA Care Covered today.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
KBLA Talk 1580 is the exclusive media sponsor of This Light of Ours, activist photographers of the Civil Rights Movement. A dynamic new exhibition on view now at the Skirball Cultural Center in Los Angeles. This Light of Ours showcases more than 150 photos taken by movement insiders from diverse backgrounds that reveal the vital work undertaken by a broad coalition of organizers and everyday people whose collective action changed America. This Light of Ours is one of 3 temporary exhibitions currently on view at the Skirball, which together explore issues related to civil rights, immigration, and pluralism. Tickets and more information for all 3 exhibitions are available at skirball.org. That's skirball.org. SKIRBALL.org.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
And Tavis Smiley shared something with me yesterday, which was right on point. You guys heard me talking yesterday about Claudine Gay and her firing. Well, she wasn't fired. She resigned, but it's really firing because she was pushed out. Had she enjoyed the real, full, solid support of the folks at Harvard, she would not have stepped down. She still works for Harvard, by the way, and she will still get a check, which has conservatives hopping mad, but she's no longer the president after just a 6-month term. And the more I learn about this, the more I realize that how dirty they did her. Well, you heard me talking about Bill Ackman, the big billionaire donor to Harvard, who really was hunting for Claudine Gay's head. He really was the leader of the intellectual lynch mob that went after her, that pushed through this double standard, that allowed many of us to abandon her, thinking, well, she's guilty of plagiarism. The more we find out, that is BS and the charge on its face, on the merits. But it turns out now we find out that his own wife, Neri Oxman is her name, is accused of plagiarism for her dissertation. The wife of the guy who just rounded up the people with the torches and the pitchforks to virtually hang Claudine Gay. His wife, who is now a tenured professor at MIT, arguably more prestigious, certainly just as prestigious as Harvard University. She got her tenure in 2027. Apparently, she plagiarized a bunch of her doctoral dissertation, which she submitted in 2010. And that at least, according to Business Insider, at least one of those paragraphs was taken directly from another writer without citation. This is a guy who has been relentless and saying, there's no exceptions, plagiarism, blah, 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 blah. Well, as I pointed out, I think it was yesterday, that the rules for how you do citations change over the years. When Gay wrote her dissertation in the 90s, the citation rules were different. You didn't always have to have quotation marks. Apparently that changed because of the internet and the rash of plagiarism that we've seen since then. But this supports what many academics, including Nicole Hannah-Jones, have said, which is that if we held every academic to the same standards, including Mr. Ackman's wife, that we held Claudine Gay to, there would be a lot of open jobs at these Ivy League schools. And let's see, as my colleague Nicolai Cortez said, let's see what MIT's finna do about this woman. Will she also be forced to resign? We have a lot to talk about. Let's keep talking about it on social media. KBLA 1580 on all of the apps. And you can find me at DiPrima Radio. Don't forget, if you missed the podcast on yesterday with Queen Afua, Jumpstarting Your Health for 2024, find it wherever you get your podcasts. Our podcasts are always free. They're also available on our app. My quote for today, going to Maya Angelou this rainy, cold weekend. She says, remember to try to be the rainbow in someone's cloud. Best of Tavis Smiley is up next. Until tomorrow, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.